Hello, everyone. My name is Megan Bowers, and I am the Capstone team lead for the Oregon Invasive Species Hotline project. The Oregon Invasive Species Hotline is owned by the Institute of Natural Resources at Oregon State University. The Institute of Natural Resources works as an advisor for the long-term stewardship of Oregon's natural resources. The Invasive Species Hotline is a website that is heavily used by people all throughout Oregon, mostly people who work for the state and local government, but there are other users as well. And all of these users are people who are interested in learning about and acting on reports of invasive species. The hotline heavily benefits nature throughout Oregon because it provides experts a potential early detection on species that we want to remove or ones that we actually want to be kept around. So the hotline can also be used as just a place where people can receive expert help to identify an unknown species. The hotline became a capstone project because the website has grown in use over the years, but the website has not changed at all since it was created back in 2016. It contains many accessibility issues that a modern website would have addressed, and there are a few glaring issues such as poor image quality, privacy concerns from the users, and just an all-around old-looking website. So now we're going to get further into some of the requests that we got as a Capstone team, and then what we did to accomplish them.
Hi, my name is Sam, and I'm going to demo our image quality improvement feature for the project. I'll give a quick overview on what this feature is and why it was requested first. The existing app has an image quality that is not as satisfactory as the owners would like. We can see that it is 450 by 600 pixels. All images, regardless of the original uploaded size, are limited to this within the app. So we were tasked with fixing this. Um, Turns out fixing it was fairly simple. This was completed by me, and here's a demo of it now working as intended. As you can see, the image still scales properly to the site, but is allowed to be whatever resolution it was uploaded in. This is a picture of my cat for test, but if we inspect, we will see that the image is now 1252 by 1664. That's the demo of the image size.
Thank you, Sam. And hello, everyone. My name is Hussain Alhashim. For our second feature demo, I will be showing you some of the changes that we, as the front-end team, implemented for the navigation and profile views. The purpose of these changes was to try and make the site more modern, while making it familiar to current users, while also making it more responsive. The original website was great overall, and as such, we tried to complement it by adding features that would build upon it. Let's start by comparison, and to do that, let's just log in. In the original website's profile view for the users, the view shows you a small navigation bar that takes you to either Home, which is here, Search Reports, or Unclaimed, which is just a tag in Search Reports. And then you have the Admin panel, which takes you to various admin related links. All of this is really functional and works really well. However, for us, it felt like having a menu for the profile and the admin panel in two separate locations was an issue that we wanted to address. This is the manager view, which contains search reports and unclaimed. And finally, let's log into the admin. The admin page here contains what you expect from the admin page in the original website. You have the search reports, you have the unclaimed search reports, and then you also have the different admin links. Now, let's go back to the new profile page here. This page now enables quick edit to user data, such as the bio, affiliations, name, email, and password. The other feature here that we included is edit name now has data validated, so you're not gonna have users with just numbers for username. You need to enter an actual name here. All in all, the current version of our website shares all of its functions with the original website, while being a much smoother user experience. Now to you, Megan.
Megan here again. I'm going to talk a little bit about why this project was sort of even proposed as a capstone project altogether. One of the most important things was the image quality. It was a huge factor in how the website works, and the image quality was really bad, and this was hindering experts being able to identify what they were seeing in an image. So that was one of the huge points for needing this project to be done, needing some programmers to do some coding for them. And then things that the sponsor kind of asked for beyond that was to modernize the look of the website, modernize the code base, and then our sponsor also asked us to increase accessibility as well as potentially increasing security on the website. So here's sort of what we decided to do based on what our sponsor had asked of us. So we made a bunch of UI changes to make it look a little more up to date. And then we also looked through the code base and reviewed the tech stack. And then that's when we learned that it wasn't as old and rusty as we had told it might be. And that's when we sort of talked with our sponsor. We had meetings with him to tell him how the code base was actually quite modern and give him a bit more information from our point of view. So then our sponsor was able to relay that to the committee that he works for. And then one of the really big things we did, Sam on our backend team actually did this. He created a wiki and we put that in our public repository. And the reason behind this is because when we got the code base given to us and we were trying to spin up a local version on our computer so that we could see that our changes were actually taking effect, this was a real struggle for us. It took us a really long time to get our website spun up using Docker Hub. And so Sam actually created a very detailed step-by-step how to spin up a local version. And we're really hoping that this will help people in the future who take on the code base after us. So that was a really huge improvement that we made. So now I'm going to pass it on to some of our team members to talk about 3 of these top features that we picked out as being some of the most important things that we worked on.
Hello everyone, my name is Kevin, and today I'm going to talk about one of the top features that we added. One of the standard features that we recently added to the hotline is the constraints to report creations. This means that reports can now only be submitted for areas within Oregon and Clark County, Washington. Let me explain how we made this possible. Initially, we took the straightforward approach. We created a box around Oregon using longitude and latitude in the map. This method was simple to implement, but it had its drawbacks. The box wasn't a perfect fit for Oregon, as Oregon, unlike states like Colorado or Wyoming, isn't exactly a rectangle or a square. So after using the longitude and latitude method, we implemented Sam's method using cities. With cities, it created strict restrictions within Oregon and within the Clark County of Washington State. Let me do a quick demonstration of how this works. If we try to do a submission for outside of Oregon, let's say like somewhere in Nevada, we hit submit. It gives us an error. It says the location you selected is outside of Oregon. Please place the pin within Oregon. And now if we do somewhere in Oregon, like let's say for example, let's do Salem. It allows us as it's within Oregon. Initially, when we were talking to our sponsor in one of the talks, we noticed that there was a report that was made in Florida, which with it being Oregon Invasive Species Hotline, doesn't really help that it's in Florida. So now with this implementation, we've successfully been able to fix the issue and created a boundary around Oregon and Clark County where reports can only be submitted.
Hi, I'm Bryant. I'm a member of the backend team. So another thing we did was we increased the link expiration timers across the board to 7 days, up from 24 hours. So how the hotline works is managers will send out email invites to various experts who will then view a report and identify the invasive species. These links and emails expire after 24 hours. So oftentimes the experts would let that link expire, and then managers would have to send out another series of invites the next day, and hopefully the experts would accept then. So after talking with our sponsor Jacob, we decided that 24 hours was too restrictive and it needed to be increased. So we chose to increase that duration to 7 days. And this was really as simple as going into the code and finding where the duration was being calculated and Luckily, it was as simple as multiplying that by 7, so that it would be 7 days instead of 1.
Hello, my name is Andres Garcia, and today I'll walk you through the updates made to the homepage for the hotline. The goal for the homepage was to modernize the design and improve the user experience. This here is the original homepage, while this here are the improvements to be made to make it look more modern. As you can see, some of the big changes happened in the header and navigation section, but I will just be going over the changes made just below that. We kept the original structure as sponsor did not want to deviate from it too much, but some of the changes we made were cutting down the wording on the left section and increasing the size. We made a bold section for making a report, as this is what most users are looking for. And we kept the About the Hotline section, which leads to the bottom of the section of the homepage, making it larger and placing it at the bottom. As for how the homepage looks in mobile, the user is presented with only the left side, which leads them to make a report easily. Now for the bottom section. Compared to the original, much of it, again, was cutting the wording down and increasing the wording sizes. We added a notes section that tells the users personal information will not be made public, since the hotline received many emails and calls about this. This is also displayed when making a report. Clicking the heading will lead you to a page where more information is provided about each section. Also, I added information about the dashboard here, as it was quite hard to spot in the original page, as you can see. Lastly, if there's a need to change the wording or remove something, admins are able to change it when logged in.
Keeping this momentum going on features, my name is Taylor Hughes, and I'm going to discuss some additional features that played a huge part in our project. The Oregon Invasive Species Hotline allows people to not only submit, but to also view reports, and users will now be able to search reports filtered by cities and watershed. Throughout the project, the backend team reviewed much of the testing framework and revised the code to be easier to read and understand. This will help future maintenance of the code base when we pass the torch. A huge impact the front-end team made throughout this project has been updates to the user interface. It now presents a more modern look and has arguably become more user-friendly. The last thing that I will mention on this slide is that the boot issues with the Docker image have been resolved. If we were given more time to enhance the hotline, there are a few things we would love to do. Currently, the accounts are deleted. The posts made by that account are also deleted, so we'd want to decouple these acts of deleting. Accessibility of the website could be strengthened, so we would want to tailor the website to help accommodate individuals who are colorblind and/or who have cognitive disabilities. Extending this idea of accessibility, the desktop version of the website was our top concern. Therefore, creating a version of the website focused on the mobile view experience would be the next major step in regards to user interface. And if we could add a cool feature that would better bring awareness of what the hotline accomplishes, we would want to design a way to catch hotline success stories and share them on the website to others. Lastly, security is always an ongoing topic and can always be worked on.
So going into how the team functioned, for our initial explorations of the website on the admin side and our conversations with Jacob, we gleaned that there were 3 levels of users. There's the admins, managers, and users. Admins, having the greatest control over the website, are able to directly edit text, delete comments, or delete entire accounts. Managers manage a section of reports, and they're able to invite users in the form of experts to view reports. They are able to mark these reports as public or private and are able to create comments that are hidden from the general public. Users are identified through either some sort of public or anonymous account. They create reports. They can leave comments. In the case of experts, they might leave a comment that of like whatever species is in the report. And they're also able to view other reports that have been marked as public. So for how we functioned throughout the quarter, the team adopted an agile methodology from the start. We kept a Scrum board that was managed by Megan, who would officially come up with tasks and assign them to us. We had 2 meetings a week. Mondays we met remotely via Zoom. On Wednesdays we'd meet in person in the Capstone room, and we had a mix of both because meeting remotely is far more convenient, but meeting in person does have we were able to communicate issues or things easier.
Going on to how did the team function? Initially, we created 2 teams with responsibilities. The first team was the front end team, and then the back end team. The front end team, they were responsible for the UI, the website, while the back end team was responsible for things in the back end, like the images compression, the map, and the database. We use Agile board with tickets to keep track of the progress we were making and the issues that we were troubleshooting. Throughout the weeks, we had remote meetings and in-person meetings. This made it possible so we can work independently. And then right here, if you click on this link, it will take you to the specific parts that each one of us worked on. It took longer than expected to obtain the code base. We had trouble communicating with the maintainers and also getting access to the code. This took about almost half of a term.
To address some feedback from our sponsors. First, when demoing our image quality improvement to our sponsor, he expressed interest on having the fix pushed to the production app as soon as possible. So if we could communicate with OIT at Portland State in order to get this image pushed to production, that would be great. That's one of our first things we would like to do. Another would be through our changes to the front end and through the changes as well to the back end, security was not addressed as much. This was a concern from our sponsor, who in turn received this as a concern from OIT. While we are not industry veterans, we did not notice much that seemed to be bad in the way of security, and found no notes or mentions throughout the code base about security issues or holes. This could still be improved, as we didn't do much for it. And then moving on to more improvements that could be made. While we did not revamp the entire app, our front end changes were fairly large in terms of changing the styling, as well as overhauling image quality and adding other guardrails. All in all, our changes resulted in several thousand lines of code and seemed for small improvements in the front, but addressed most of the concerns made by our sponsor in his list. Our Capstone project draws to a close. We've come away with some lessons that we would like to apply. Were we somehow able to redo this from the start? We would have liked to have started earlier, maybe had access to the code base earlier, so we could begin architecting some changes sooner. We've also learned a lot about working with others in a quote-unquote production environment. There are some struggles and advantages we've gone through, both within the team as well as communicating with OIT and our sponsor outside. These are things that we would have liked to have done differently in the future. And then lastly, it's good to have commit and JIRA ticket history to show what we've done throughout the project. Although it would have been maybe nicer to have utilized JIRA a little more heavily than we did, as most of our workflow organization was managed through word of mouth and through Discord.
I would really like to say a quick thank you before we wrap this up to some people who contributed a lot to this project. So the biggest thank you that I have as the team lead is from my team. Every single one of them contributed so much and showed up every single day, and that's all I could ask for. So thank you to Taylor, Andreas, Hussain, Bryant, Kevin, and Sam. I appreciate you all so much. And then huge thank you to Bruce, who sort of guided us through this whole entire project and help us get to live out what it really looks like to work on a real software project. Of course, our final thank you to our sponsor, Jacob. You were the best sponsor we could have asked for. We appreciate how you were so communicative and you were always clear with us on what you wanted. And we're really just happy and grateful that we could contribute to such a meaningful project and can't wait to see how the hotline does in the future. Thank you for watching.